Next on Married People's Business.
Ladies, I got some juicy stuff for you. Why men cheat? I got to ask that question of Mr. Tolbert over here.
And I have graciously volunteered to provide you locker room conversations on the ins and outs of why men cheat. So before you get into it, what we want you to do is to hit that subscribe button, get you some popcorn, relax, and find out why men cheat. Next on Married People's Business.
There it is. The music, the applause.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
With Married People's Business.
Good to see you, Michael Tolbert.
Good to see you as well, Shalice Tolbert, since we're being so formal. I guess when you've been married for 16 years, we just celebrated our 16th year anniversary. And, you get formal when you've been married for over 15 years. You start calling your spouse Mr. and Mrs.
Absolutely. Change it up sometimes.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Keep it fresh.
But welcome back to the podcast. For those of you who have not seen us before, Married People's Business is a podcast that highlights successful married couples in business and their road to success, as well as other successful business partners and those who have collaborated to create a good or service that is special. We also give helpful business tips and life tips to partners in business and collaborators. So, today's episode is probably going to focus more on life tips. Oh, come on. So, the title of today's episode?
Yeah. Do you want to give them the title?
I can.
Go ahead.
Why men cheat?
As you can tell, I'm very enthusiastic about this topic because I volunteered to do this topic.
Yeah.
It's like a hostage note. I'm.
Yeah.
You know how they put you in front of the camera and they say, "Tell your family you okay." You like, I'm all right.
I got you.
They're feeding me well. I'm healthy.
You being held
I'm safe.
hostage? Really? That's what you think?
Okay.
Wow. Well, I thought that.
Why men cheat? So you thought I came up with this topic?
I didn't say you came up with it, but I didn't say you held hostage. You could have said no.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't have nothing to hide. I don't have nothing to hide. So we could talk about this topic. Let's get into it.
All right. So for those of you who may or may not be aware of what's been in the news, Mr. Ime Udoka.
Yeah,
Did I say that?
I think that's his name.
Ime Udoka. He's the coach for the Boston Celtics basketball team in the NBA. And Mr. Udoka recently, and still making headlines for cheating on his partner, not his wife, his fiance, Nia Long, with somebody in the organization. They haven't revealed who that is, but it got me to thinking.
Hey, when your wife or your woman starts to think, that's usually a bad sign. But go ahead.
Stop it.
You started to think. Go ahead.
So it started to think. Nia Long. I think she's been quoted as the most. Her name is in the most rap songs in hip hop or something of that nature. So you start thinking, why do cheat on Nia Long? Why do men cheat? I don't know Nia Long from the man down the street, but it gets me to thinking. And you and I have always been friends
and open. We've always been open.
So
with each other about being brutally honest about things.
And the male perspective, the female perspective. So that was the basis of our friendship. So, I thought it would be fitting to try and discuss this in a mature way.
In other words, codes. She's trying to get me to snitch. Fellas, that's code for she trying to get me to snitch and tell all the secrets. But I'm up for it. I think I can walk a line without divulging too many confidences about what the brothers talk about behind the curtain. But I think we can delve into it and get to the meat of it.
And to be fair, just so you know, in the future there's going to be a part 2 to this as to why women cheat.
Yes, there will be a part 2. So this is part 1 of this kind of topic. Why men cheat is part 1. Why women cheat is part 2.
So, you know, we agreed to be candid, and it's not about here I'm trying to catch you, no ahas and nothing like that. It's just, you know, trying to give a perspective, because this does affect some of the things that you do, not only in your personal life but your business life.
And why did you want this to be the topic for the ladies? Why were you so interested in this topic?
Well, I think because we tend to think that it's something about us. And also this is like affecting their life together.
Their business, potentially.
I was just going to say, they've been together for 10 years. This man is a head coach. She's a famous actress. How does this affect their business lives and their careers? And what does it do? Because he got suspended for a year. And I thought that there was some information out there that they may just get rid of him altogether. Like, these are life decisions. This isn't just about the cheating itself.
I see it. So, how potentially it could affect married people's business, right?
Exactly. Partners, collaborators.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're together for 10 years, they've been together since 2010. So 12 years. They built some things together, I would imagine.
Right.
So it's not just about, hey, we kicking it. She moved to Boston, and, you know, whatever else happened through those 10 years, that they've built some kind of life together with business and personal.
Okay.
So, you know, I thought it was fitting, you know, but, you know, I'll be honest and say the woman in me just really wants to know what y'all be thinking, like, how that happened. You know, I mean, because Nia Long's not an ugly lady. I ain't heard nothing about her being crazy. You know, you hear about Hallie might be crazy or whatever.
My ex-girlfriend used to look like Nia Long.
She did. I'm the one who brought that to your
did bring
attention.
that up,
It was the Love Jones era. I was like, hey, you know, she looked like Nia Long.
Yeah,
you did all right.
And the other reason why I am so willing to discuss this topic at the nudging of my beautiful wife.
The nudging.
Is she has promised to give me diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic.
So no matter what I say, she can't use it against me from this podcast, because she wants me to be brutally honest about why men cheat, and to kind of go into like the psychology of it. And I'm willing to do this. So where you want to get started? Let's do it.
Well, I mean, the general question, I guess I don't know how to be more.
Do I have to be sworn in or anything?
Oh, but I can swear you in. Can you raise your right hand, please?
All right, here we go.
You do your promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. Well, let's go.
Here we go.
So,
let's go.
I mean, this beautiful woman, he's not a bad-looking guy. You know, you think that they got a life together, and, you know, we don't hear about Nia Long's personal life. But, you know, why do you think a man would cheat like this?
Okay, so the topic is why men cheat.
Yeah.
You want to know why men cheat.
Yeah.
First of all, ladies, I think the most important part that women have to understand is when men cheat, it's not really about the woman that you're with. You know, it's about the psychology of a man. Okay? Men are built to conquer. We're built to conquest, right? And that's just built in our DNA. So if you look back and, you know, to give y'all a history lesson, you know. Cheating started a long, long time ago in Africa.
Long time ago.
When these beautiful black women was walking around.
Look here, Bernie Mac. You know, we always gonna bring some movie lines or something into this joint. Y'all know how we do.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, if you look at the history, you know, even if you are a biblical scholar, you know, we are believers. And, you know, we believe in God, believe in the Word, we stand on the Word. But if you read your Bible and you go into your Bible and you look at a lot of the men in the Bible, it's interesting. Like, for example, Solomon. I believe Solomon had about 700 wives, 300 concubines. I don't know. I ain't never had a concubine. But it sounds interesting, you know, a concubine.
You know, the biblical stuff isn't looked at as
300 concubines.
I guess it's looked at as, you know, the way that those civilizations operated at that time. Yeah, but to the point. But the point I'm making is that if you look at the way that men are wired, even going back,
centuries and centuries ago. It was always conquest. It was conquered. That's the way that men are built. King David in the Bible had 8 wives. A lot of his wives were acquired over time once he took territory and conquered other tribes.
Okay,
So,
I get it.
Men are wired to compete. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that kind of energy, it spills over into our relationships, into how we engage with other men, and also how we engage in relationships, particularly sexual relationships with women. So it really is not about how fine the woman is that we're with. It's a lot of times about the competition and the hunt. And I think that when women can understand that, and understand it is not about them, then they can really understand more and more about why men cheat and why they make the decisions to go elsewhere. And it doesn't have anything to do with looks. It doesn't have anything to do with how banging your body is. It's all about the man and his psychology and how he's made and built.
So you said something that makes me think, okay, you said it's about competition. So is it like you bragging to your boys, or what? I mean, what do you mean with that competition? Is it a competition with yourself, or what can I conquer, or is it, hey, I know I can do better than this dude that I know? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's men innately are competitive by nature, so it's not an outward competition. And I would tell women this: when you typically your most the men who probably are the best cheaters typically are the ones that are not flashy, the ones that you don't know are out there in the streets, So
the quiet boys.
It's those silent killers, that the ones that are. Yeah, I mean, y'all asked to come in the locker room. I'm telling y'all, I'm giving y'all game. Okay, so it's the silent type. So it's not competition in an outward sense of looking at the scoreboard and seeing 66-13.
Okay.
It's more of an internal battle, an internal competition, that how men are wired. Men are inherently wired to be the best and to compete and to constantly have the best, be the best, have the most, acquire the most property, acquire the most territory. This whole country, this whole world was built on exploration and the energy that a lot of men used to explore certain parts of the world. Look at how this country was formed.
Right.
Christopher Columbus. Now we ain't gonna get into a history lesson on whether he discovered America or not. That's not the point. But the point is that he was in a ship and he was floating around looking for gold and looking for new territory to conquer. And that same energy and drive is what drives men to be with other women or multiple women at the same time. That's why you see a lot of athletes. If you look, a lot of men in high competitive environments sometimes tend to cheat. Like Ime Udoka. He's in a competitive sports environment, which sometimes leads itself to that energy.
Okay. Yeah. So, the corporate execs, the higher ups.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right. So then you've got this woman that you're in a relationship. Why be in the relationship? I mean, if you're going, I don't understand the cheating part. If you know that you want to be with other people or this conquering type of deal, why not just not be with somebody?
So again, the other reason why men cheat is because of a relationship immaturity. So the first point I gave you about why men cheat was opportunity and conquest. So all of these factors, all of these things have to be read together. It's the totality of all of them. This is not a mutual exclusive list. People who are watching this or listening to this might have other reasons why men cheat. I'm sure you women who have had experiences with men have your own rationale, but I'm giving you my perspective and my point of view, which I think is rock solid. And if you wonder, you might be saying, why are you an authority on this? I'll tell you why.
Oh, gosh. Because you're a man?
I'm a man, but also before I took my sabbatical and at the University of my permanent sabbatical in marriage, I acquired my PhD in whole relations.
I can't.
I acquired my PhD in whole relations and whole sciences. I've spoken at many Kappa conclaves.
Oh, wow.
To brothers who are trying to get they self together.
Wow, you give seminars. You gave seminars free. What is the I'm sorry, what is your major? What was your major? I mean, your PhD in again?
It was in whole relations.
Whole relations.
Yeah, before I took my permanent sabbatical and got married. It was in whole relations. I've spoken at many Kappa conclaves.
Why particularly Kappa?
Many AKA Boulets, many Delta conventions.
Deltas don't have such things at their conventions. Sorry.
You don't? You never came to one of my talks?
We don't have that type of nonsense at our gatherings.
So that's what makes me an authority. So so you don't think you're just talking to somebody that is not degreed. I am very degreed in this subject. All right.
And you know what? Along those lines too, I just want to let everybody know. If you don't know our history, we've been friends since we were 12 years old. I mean, literally, we have not been involved with each other all this time. So we were best friends. We've been best friends, and we would talk to each other about relationships that we were in with other people to get the male or female
whole
perspective.
Relationships. I would talk to her about.
You didn't talk to me about the whole relations.
Yes, I did.
I didn't know
you
about
just
the whole relations. Oh, I didn't know that they was whole relations. Did they know it was whole relations?
I used to be getting a lot of advice to make me a better hoe. You made me better. You made me a better hoe.
I am not taking credit for any of that.
Thank you very much for allowing me to.
I did not sign up. I did not give you
summa cum laude.
I didn't give you no credits. Nope. I didn't sign off with that university. You will not put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
All right, yeah, but that's an interesting point that you raised. That one of the things that I enjoy about our marriage is that we are best friends because of our past relationships, and we're brutally honest with each other because of our past and our history, which allows for us to really have, to me, a stronger relationship. So there ain't no secrets. We talk about a lot of things that are very interesting that some people might find interesting, but I think it makes us a stronger couple for it.
Right, and sometimes we step out the box and we be like, okay, this Shay and Mike talking.
Yeah, we sure do. We say this is Mike T.
Mike T
and
is
Shay Rob. Shay Rob.
We don't say Shay Rob. You just wanted to say that.
I did.
But it's usually Shay and Mike. That's our code for that's the friend and the male female perspective, and no personal liability, no taking it personally.
Diplomatic immunity.
That immunity. So,
and I think you got to be able to talk to your spouse or the person that you with about these very tough topics because it allows for you to grow. And from our relationship in past, we were not always together. We were with other people, but there were times where we were probably both not on the up and up, and times where Shalise and I tried to date each other, where, it didn't quite work out for a variety of reasons, which, we might go into. But I think that is the experience that we've used as young folks, 20-somethings, and failed relationships where we maybe could have been better, where we've acquired this knowledge of the psychology of why people won't commit to certain people.
Right, and just life experience.
Yeah, exactly. So. That's exactly right.
So getting back, you said you used the word opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity.
I guess my question would be, is it an opportunity that's presented to you, or are you seeking opportunities to cheat?
Well, I think, ladies, what you have to understand, the concept of opportunity when it comes to a man and his when he decides to cheat. It depends on where that man is in his what his maturity level is and where he is in the maturity scale. So the younger the guy is, the opportunity is going to be more from that man initiating probably the extramarital relationship or extramarital affair, whatever the case is. So that man, the younger you are, you have less to lose because you have less acquired. You have less You have probably your job is probably not where you want to be. Your reputation might not be. Most young people don't understand the reputation that they're building when they're in their 20s. That's why social media and Twitter and all this other stuff is so dangerous for young kids, because when you're in your 20s, what you put out there, you're gonna have a whole bunch of 20-year-old young ladies that's gonna be mad as hell when they 30 trying to get a job, and somebody see that booty shaking TikTok video. So this stuff is forever, and so I think that the younger you are, the opportunity is initiated to step out from the man. The older the man gets, the opportunity is more initiated by the woman, in a man's perspective. Because once you get married, you have more to lose. You have a wife, you have a business, sometimes you have a job. Look at Ime Udoka's situation, he's lost his career. His career might be over. And you're talking about one of the most successful rookie basketball coaches in the NBA. Just, a few months ago, he was on top of the world, and now he's not. So it would be, although he might have initiated it, but I'm sure some of it came from the other lady as well. I think that really is another point that I'll make, is the maturity level of the man is the reason why we cheat. Most men cheat because we are not mature. We're not ready we're not mature enough to understand what it means to be in a committed relationship. So
the maturity level also affects the quote unquote opportunity, the concept of opportunity.
Right. Yeah. So okay. I think and ladies, you got to understand that maturity has nothing to do with age. A man could be immature if he's 60 years old.
Absolutely.
I've seen, men that were 25 years old that were more mature than men that were 50. Yeah. So I think that when you are looking for a mate and you're trying to find somebody, and first of all, I want to make sure I throw this caveat, this disclaimer out there. Just because somebody is mature, or just because somebody does everything right, you can have the perfect person. People make mistakes. That doesn't mean that somebody won't step out, because we're human. We all make mistakes, right? But what I'm talking about is the law of probability. So what I'm looking at is factors. So if you're looking at a man and he has these factors, or he has these characteristics or elements in his life, the chances of him cheating is probably less likely than somebody who does not have these factors. So what you want to look for, if you want low cheat ratio, you got to look for a mature man. You got to look for a man that is comfortable in his own skin, and that has had, to me, experience in dealing with females. So it might sound counterintuitive, but just follow me for a second. A lot of women run from the guy that has a PhD in whole relations. They run from that guy, but those are the guys you should be running to, because those are the guys that are not going to be swayed once they do decide to commit. Because once they commit, then there's not going to be a piece of tail or a woman. I don't care how her weave looks, how she looks physically. That person is not going to be swayed, because he's had so many past experiences with so many different women and a variety of women. So I look at it from my situation, like there's not too much that can really faze me, because I've had pretty much any experience you could think of.
Okay.
You understand? Like it's just not anything that's going to make me say, "Woo!" Like that. I haven't had that before. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah,
most likely. So then that kind of falls into the probability.
Yeah, the probability.
Saying, I've done all that, so it would really have to be something that's just totally whatever. And I'm not going to say that you would do it then, but I'm saying that in the sense of nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, but it's the probability.
Right.
It's the law of probability. So the chances significantly decrease if you have somebody. Just think about it this way: if you said, Bill Gates, I'll give you $100 if you make a fool out of yourself, he's going to look at you and say, $100? What? I blow my nose with $100. Right? So that's the concept, ladies. It's, the man that has the experience that has been with a lot of women, that has kind of been a worldly guy, he is, once he does decide to commit, that maturity level is locked in, because he's not going to be swayed by somebody that entices him or tries to persuade him with physical beauty or talk, because that person has heard it all.
And I understand what you're saying because of the way that you've explained it, but it definitely sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's very much. You can't understand. First of all, you got to understand that men, when we do decide to cheat, we're thinking all the blood rushes from our brains into another part of our body, which I'm gonna say because we got some Christian view. Yeah, that's right. So we're not thinking logically anyway. So you got to throw logic out of the window when you're talking about why men cheat. And that's the first. That's the hardest thing for women to understand, because they automatically think that it's about them, when logically it should be about them, because you're like, how can you cheat and you got this beautiful woman at home? That's logical.
Right.
But it's not logical, because the man is not even thinking. When Ime Udoka cheated on Nia Long, he wasn't thinking about Nia Long. He was thinking about conquest. He was thinking about opportunity. He was thinking about, I would venture to say that his maturity level obviously wasn't where it needed to be, because they were together for 10 years without being married. That's the first sign of a lack of maturity in a relationship sense, when a man does not commit to you. No man can call himself in a mature mindset if he's with somebody for 10 years, especially at that age. We're not talking about somebody that's 20 and you date your girl from 20 to 30 years old. We're talking about 30-somethings and 40-somethings. So, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a long time to date somebody and not marry them, 10 years. So that was a red flag for me, that showed that he was not where he needed to be on the mature scale for relationships.
Or not getting into this topic, but maybe he's being pushed away because she might have had some doing and a reason for not wanting to be married right away, because I think they've been called fiancés or engaged, but still no marriage.
Well, again, I'm telling you, what I learned in my whole relations.
This whole relation.
My whole relation studies.
What school was this?
This was Harvard.
Harvard, not Harvard.
Harvard.
Okay, Harvard.
Right by Ivy Tech. Right next to Ivy Tech on Martin Luther King Drive.
I got you.
Yes, okay. Harvard.
Okay, thank you. Continue, please. I apologize for disrupting your Harvard.
Yeah, that's all right. But the point, you raise a good point, because the issue that women have to understand is that it's not about you, but you can push a man also to cheat. And I know a lot of women going crazy because they say, "How you trying to blame it on us?" But yeah, It can be your fault, and I'm gonna tell you why it can be your fault.
Okay.
Because what you just said about Nia Long not wanting to commit, this is the other reason why men cheat. Men cheat because women won't commit, and whether a woman wants to realize it or not, women can see. Men are very black and white. So if we tell you that we don't want to be in a relationship and not want to commit, typically we'll tell you that. We'll say, I'm not ready to be with you. Women are more cerebral. So they might not necessarily say they don't want to be with you. What they'll do is do things to show you that. So they they don't embrace you. They don't love you the way that you probably feel that you should be loved. In Nia Long's situation, I read some articles where she said that she did not want to get married because she had a previous bad relationship.
Right, I've read that too.
So part of Ime Udoka's problem could have been her lack of commitment, because if men don't see a woman committing to them and putting them first as a priority, then men tend to wander, their minds wander, and they look for somebody that is going to give them that commitment level. Because contrary to popular belief, every man, once they reach a certain point, especially when they reach a point of success in their careers, they want the woman to share it with. right? So if women, if you're not giving that man that security of a committed relationship, then you're basically pushing him into the arms of another woman. So it's not always the man. Sometimes it can be the woman. And the example I'll give you is, our relationship. Before we got into a relationship, I asked you to be with me. Remember that?
Yeah.
And what did you tell me?
No.
And when you told me no, I went to the cave that night.
That night. You went
And
to the
I
cave.
went to Dina's after that. And then I went to the biology bar after that.
And you started
went
your
to the
degree in
50 yard.
horology.
Yeah, I was like on my second. That was like
You was
in
on
my
your master's
it was like
program?
trying to. Yeah, I was like, I was close. But the point is, like, I went into a spiral of like, into like just whole imaginations and
Whole
all
imaginations.
all these things just started just coming to me.
So me saying no put you into your hoism stage.
You made me a better hoe. You made me a better. You did. You made me. Like, I was like, before, I was like this innocent dude.
Oh my goodness!
True.
I don't.
It's true. You listen.
No, you know
Let me
what?
tell you something.
I don't even have a. Yes, please
Let me
tell
you.
me. Tell
Like,
me. I am.
I wanted to be with you. I asked you to be with me. I was just a simple country boy. I was going to church every Sunday. See, this, ladies, you gotta listen to this.
You swore to tell the truth.
I am telling the truth.
Simple country boy just going to church every Sunday.
I'm telling you the truth. So, ladies, this is what you got to understand. You can really push a man over the edge.
Look at my face.
You understand what I'm saying? So you got to be careful because you can really turn a good guy into a bad guy. So like some of these guys really want to be with y'all, but then y'all play hard to get, y'all might have somebody else, which is what the situation was in your case. I'm not gonna say his name, but I'm gonna shout out, whoever the ex-boyfriend in college. We're gonna shout him out.
You know what? You really, you might as well have said his name.
Hey, I'm just gonna tell you, dog. She held a wall for you. All right, she did. She held a wall for you. She was tight. I came for her, but she didn't go. But the point being, is that put me into a different mindset when it came to women. So I was just like, oh, okay. So you gonna do this to me? You gonna do this?
Really?
I was like, you gonna do this to me? I'm putting cases on all y'all.
That was the turning point.
That was for me. I'm telling you why men cheat.
I don't know, because before that you had.
I'm telling you why men cheat.
But
and when you see men go out like that and with multiple women, a lot of times you can trace it to a failed relationship because that energy and those problems that they're having and when they're cheating, that's because they have been hurt, right? And they're trying to cover up that hurt with other relationships.
But you know what? I mean, seriously, just thinking about the stages that we were in life, you talked about the maturity level and whatnot of men. Mm-hmm. We probably wouldn't have stayed together had we been together then, had we gotten together.
No,
then.
No, and that goes again to what we were talking about, the maturity scale in a relationship. Yeah. So a lot of this is very difficult. It's hard to gauge, but if you know the terminology and you know the concepts, then you'll know what to look for. So there are a lot of people that are in relationships right now that don't know where they are on the maturity scale.
Yeah.
So they're forcing guys to be in relationships, or men, we're forcing women to be in relationships when they might be on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being where you need to be in a committed relationship. These people mentally might be at a 3 or be at a 2. And we're trying to treat them like they're on a 10 scale. So we have to realize where they are on the scale. And then I don't know if you did this, but maybe you looked at me and was like, you on a 3 scale. So I'm not ready to be with you until you get to where you need to be on a 9 or a 10 scale. And it worked out. Well,
I mean, and honestly, reflectively, I look back at that being a mature decision. But at the time, it was a selfish decision. Just being,
it was selfish
clear.
as hell.
Shut the front door.
Because you turned down... She turned
all of
this. I would take my shirt off, but this is a Christian show.
I can't tell you talking about degrees in horology.
You know what? Jesus saved everybody. You know what I mean? He saved like the lepers.
He saved both of us.
He saved
brought us together.
Like, you know, tax collectors.
Stop it.
Everybody, like the down and trodden. Jesus came for everybody.
Stop. I need.
It's true. I'm giving y'all the word. You know?
I know, but you know.
Hey, taking y'all to church.
You so extra. I promise. But I mean, you know, at the time I wasn't mature either. But I was being selfish, but you look back as we're having this discussion, it is talking about the levels of maturity that we have.
It's the maturity scale,
stages of life,
the maturity scale and the commitment. So, ladies, men cheat because of a lack of commitment, and it doesn't always have to be for the lack of commitment from the guy. Sometimes it could be the lack of your energy and what you're putting out there in terms of your commitment. So. Just think about it, ladies. When that man tells you he wants to be with you and you tell him no, or you playing hard to get, or you could have somebody on the side and you don't want to do it, that pushes that man to another, you know, arena. And especially if the guy has options. You know, we're not talking about ugly dudes. Like, shit. I was like, you know, playing football in college. I had like 4 or 5% body fat. About to go to law school. I'm like, man, I'm shaking them off. I'm shaking them off with a stick. You know what I mean? And not a wood stick. You know what I mean?
Court, this is a Christian show.
Hey, we married, so we can talk about these things. It's all sanctioned.
You said it's Christian show.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm like, so, you know, and that raises another interesting issue, particularly about black men and black women. Like, this is the statistics, but it's just in terms of availability of quality black men for black women.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tough out there for black women. So when you have black men, like if you turn down a black man, a good quality black man, he might not come back because there's like 3 or 4 others out there.
So
that you know, that are waiting for him.
So options, right? Opportunity.
Yeah, options, opportunity, which also I think the other reason why men cheat is, you know, ladies, get your pen and your pad because I'm giving y'all game. I'm taking y'all into the locker room. Y'all in the locker room. I'm taking y'all into the locker room. But there's a concept that was developed by the great author Napoleon Hill. He wrote the book Think and Grow Rich.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite books because that book shows us so much about how to grow wealth and relationships. And there's a phrase in the book, concept in the book that he calls sexual transmutation. Look it up. It's a real term, sexual transmutation. And basically the concept of sexual transmutation is that there's really one other urge that is stronger than the sexual urge or sexual desire, and that's hunger.
Okay, yeah,
right?
I recall that.
So you literally have men trying to decide whether they're going to eat a sandwich.
Which smash are they going to do?
Whether they're going to eat a sandwich or whether they're going to eat a sandwich.
Either way, smashing is happening.
So think about that, ladies. Think about that. The only other sexual desire that's stronger than
the only other desire.
The only other desire that is stronger than hunger. Only other desire that's stronger than the sexual urge and desire is hunger.
Yeah.
Hunger.
Yeah.
So you're really dealing with an urge that is just, unless you control it, can really drive you out of your mind. And that's why you have men making stupid decisions. It's not because they're bad guys. Sometimes they are bad guys. A lot of times they are bad guys. But it's an urge that is extremely strong. And unless you understand that urge, you just chalk it up as, oh, these are bad guys. When in reality, this is an urge, right? So a strong urge, up there with hunger.
Right.
So the concept of sexual transmutation basically says that you take that urge that is just as powerful and strong as hunger, and you transmute it. You redirect it into some other form of art or discipline. So most successful men, and he talks about this in the book Think and Grow Rich, men that reach high levels in their careers and they reach success and wealth and fame and all these other things that we look at. These are men with high sexual drives, high sex drives. And the reason that they're so successful is that they've taken part of that sex drive and they've redirected it into a hobby or redirected it into a career or redirected it somewhere that is transformed, that's been transformed into something positive. So career, business. So the bottom line, ladies, is that you got to get you a man that understands. If you don't want your man to cheat or you want to decrease the chances of him cheating, you have to find you a man that understands the concept of sexual transmutation, whether it be expressly or impliedly. Because he might not understand directly what it means. He might not have never heard of the term, but based on how he operates and lives his life, you can tell that sexual transmutation is at play. So ask yourself, do an audit of your man. Is he sitting down playing an Xbox all the time? Is he playing video games? Got too much idle time on his hand. Chances are, increased chance, too much time on his hands, idle hands make for devil's work play, right? So you need men that are busy, that are striving, that are trying to accomplish things because that sexual desire and urge is being transmuted, the sexual transmutation, into other parts of their lives to build something great. Get you a man that's trying to build something, that's trying to build a business, that's trying to write a book. Whatever he's using for that outlet, that's what you need because is going to take his mind off of that strong sexual urge to cheat.
So to me, just kind of putting all this together, that even leads back to, and I read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich.
Great book.
But I think that even leads back to, again, the concept of the level of maturity.
Oh, all of these things are intertwined. It's not one, they have to all be read together.
Yeah. The
maturity level, the maturity scale, opportunity, concept of sexual transmutation, which is basically get you out as busy, has goals and is working towards things because, again, he has less time to do stuff.
Extra stuff. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Wow. I mean, I never thought about and just think about when you've got an addiction or something, controlling those urges. And that takes a level of maturity, so to say, to control that and curb that. So
right.
Wow.
And the last point I'll make, and this is probably the most scientific point that we'll raise on the show, and that some guys just cheat just because they hoes.
That's the most scientific point of the show.
She got a big booty, you're like, man, dang, dog, you see her booty, dog? Man, what?
Does it really always come back to the booty?
Yeah.
It does.
At black men, we like big booties.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's just
Sir
the way it
Mix-a-Lot
works.
said it well, you always bring it back to hip-hop.
Yeah, but honestly, in all fairness, sometimes some men are just broken, and you can't fix them. And you just have to be in a space and have an astute eye to know when you're dealing with that guy that's just not going to ever commit. And you can see him, the older you get and the more knowledge you have about all these things we talked about, you can really see when a person is just out just to be out.
Yeah.
So.
And this wasn't meant to be an all-inclusive list of the only things because, as we said, nobody's perfect. Things happen the way that they happen. But I appreciate your candor, your honesty, you letting us in the locker room. I hope the guys don't come after you for this,
No, they gonna be all right. Because I speak the truth. And, anybody that, you can pick up Napoleon Hill's book and read it. It's right there. This is all, public knowledge. I'm not divulging anything that people shouldn't already know, really. You gotta just pay attention.
That's how you get that PhD in hoology,
relations.
And on that note, we thank you as always for tuning in to Married People's Business Podcast. We ask that you subscribe.
Hit the subscribe button.
Yes, definitely hit the subscribe button. You can catch us on any of the platforms where you stream podcasts. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and obviously YouTube. And don't forget to share it with others so that they too can enjoy the antics of what we learn about why men cheat, and Mr. Tolbert being candid with us today. But I appreciate that. That's why he's my best friend.
That's right. I love you very much. And just
Love
make
you
sure you
too.
stay tuned to part 2.
Yeah.
All right. Why women cheat. But
Absolutely.
right now we're out. Marry people's business. Keep God first. And we'll see you next time.
Take care.